The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the bustling downtown streets, where luxury cars hummed past food carts and designer boutiques neighbored family-owned shops. It was the kind of place where two worlds collided, where wealth brushed shoulders with struggle, often without a second glance. 17-year-old Maya sat on the weathered steps of an old building, her worn backpack beside her, selling handmade bracelets she'd woven from colorful threads. Each piece told a story, stories of hope she clung to despite the hardships life had thrown her way. Her clothes were simple, her shoes had seen better days, but her eyes sparkled with a determination that poverty couldn't extinguish. She'd been doing this every day after her community college classes, saving every dollar for her mother's medical treatments. Her fingers worked methodically, weaving another bracelet while she watched the world pass by, a world that rarely noticed her. That's when they arrived. The roar of motorcycle engines shattered the peaceful afternoon. 5 bikers, all wearing expensive leather jackets and riding chrome-plated machines that cost more than most people earned in a year, pulled up near Maya's spot. They were the sons of wealthy families, known throughout the city for their reckless behavior and their belief that money made them untouchable. Their leader, Derek, a tall guy with slicked back hair and a sneer that seemed permanently etched on his face, noticed Maya immediately. To him, she represented everything he looked down upon: struggle, simplicity, earnestness. Well, what do we have here? Derek swaggered over, his boots clicking against the pavement. His friends followed, forming a semicircle around Maya, selling friendship bracelets. What is this, elementary school? Maya's heart raced, but she kept her head high. They're handmade. Each one is unique. Would you like to buy one? The bikers erupted in laughter, cruel, mocking laughter that echoed off the buildings. Buy one. Derek picked up a bracelet, examining it with exaggerated disgust. Why would I waste money on garbage? He tossed it onto the ground, grinding it under his heel. Maya's hands trembled as she reached for her remaining bracelets, trying to protect her work. But Derek was faster. He grabbed her display board and held it above his head, tossing it to one of his friends like a frisbee. Stop, please. Maya's voice cracked with desperation. Those took me weeks to make. Aw, is the little street vendor going to cry? Another biker jeered as they continued their cruel game, throwing her precious work back and forth while she scrambled to catch them. Pedestrians hurried past, heads down, unwilling to get involved. This was someone else's problem, they told themselves. The bikers were rich, connected, dangerous. Why risk it? That's when everything changed. A sleek, midnight blue Bugatti Chiron, worth nearly $3 million, pulled smoothly to the curb. The scissor door lifted upward, and out stepped someone who made even the bikers pause mid-laugh. Alexander Chen was 18, with sharp features, perfectly styled dark hair, and wearing a tailored Armani suit that probably cost more than all 5 motorcycles combined. But it wasn't his clothes or his car that commanded attention, it was the quiet authority in his presence. The way he moved with purpose and grace. He was the heir to the Chen Industries empire, a name that appeared on buildings, technology, and luxury hotels across the globe. Forbes had featured him as one of the youngest billionaires in waiting, but none of that mattered in this moment. What mattered was the fury in his eyes as he took in the scene before him. That's enough. Alexander's voice was calm, but carried an edge sharp enough to cut steel. Derek turned, ready to snap back, but the words died in his throat when he recognized who was speaking. Everyone in the city knew Alexander Chen. His family didn't just have money, they had power. Influence, the kind that could make or break futures with a single phone call. Mind your own business, Chen, Derek managed, though his voice had lost its swagger. We're just having some fun. Fun. Alexander walked forward, his Italian leather shoes clicking with purpose. He bent down and picked up one of Maya's trampled bracelets. This is someone's livelihood, someone's hard work, someone's dreams. And you're treating it like trash for entertainment. He turned to Maya, who stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in years, Alexander felt something crack open in his chest. Something he'd armored with privilege and perfection. "How much for all of them?" Alexander asked gently. Maya blinked, confused. "What? Your bracelets? All of them?" "Name your price." "They're $5 each." "I have 30 left." Alexander pulled out his wallet and extracted 15 crisp $100 bills. Handing them to Maya, her eyes widened in shock. "That's too much. I can't consider it an investment." Alexander smiled a real smile, not the practiced one he wore at charity galas. "In talent, in resilience, in someone who deserves a break." Derek scoffed, trying to regain control. "What? You're just going to white knight for some random street girl?" "Come on, Chen. She's nobody. She's somebody." Alexander cut him off, his voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. "And let me tell you what's going to happen now. You're going to apologize. You're going to help her pick up every single bracelet you threw around. And then you're going to leave and pray I do unmention this to your fathers at the next board meeting." The threat landed perfectly. All 5 bikers were connected to families who had business dealings with Chen Industries. One word from Alexander, and their comfortable lives could become very uncomfortable. Derek's face flushed red with humiliation, but he bent down and started gathering bracelets. His friends followed suit, working in sullen silence. When every bracelet was recovered and Maya's display was set back up, the bikers mounted their motorcycles without another word and rode away, their engines whining like wounded animals. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Maya spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Why did you do that? You don't even know me." Alexander sat down on the steps beside her, his expensive suit incongruous against the weathered stone. "You remind me of someone I forgot about myself before I let privilege make me indifferent." He paused, looking out at the street. "My grandmother started with nothing. She used to tell me stories about selling vegetables at a market stall, about people who mocked her ambition. She built our empire from absolute zero. Somewhere along the way, I forgot that every person has that same potential, that same worth." "You reminded me." Maya looked at this billionaire boy sitting beside her. And for the first time, she saw past the designer clothes and expensive car. She saw someone genuine, someone kind, someone who chose to be good when he could have simply driven past like everyone else. "My name is Maya," she said softly. "Alexander, but my friends call me Alex." "I don't think we're friends yet," Maya said, managing a small smile despite her tear-stained face. "Not yet," Alex agreed, smiling back. "But maybe we could be." Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. Alex didn't just offer Maya charity, he offered her opportunity and respect. He introduced her to a boutique owner who commissioned 50 bracelets for her store. He connected her with a business mentor who taught her about marketing and expansion. He funded her mother's treatments without fanfare or expectation of gratitude. But more than that, Alex learned from Maya. He learned about resilience, about finding joy in simple things, about the value of work done with your own hands. She showed him the city from street level, the vendors who knew everyone's names, the community that looked out for each other, the richness that existed beyond material wealth. Maya started a successful jewelry business, eventually hiring other young people from difficult circumstances. Alex shifted his family's focus toward ethical business practices and community investment, using his platform to amplify voices that had been ignored. 2 years later, at the launch party for Maya's first retail store, a gleaming boutique in the heart of downtown, Alex raised a glass and shared their story with the assembled crowd. "Someone once asked me why I stopped that day," he said, his eyes finding Maya across the room. "The truth is, I didn't stop to save her. She saved me. She reminded me that true wealth isn't in our bank accounts, it's in our character, our choices, our compassion. Every day we pass people who are struggling, who need just one person to see them, to stand up for them, to believe in them. Maya didn't need me to change her game. She was already playing it with more grace than I'd ever known. I just needed her to change mine. The room erupted in applause. But Maya and Alex only had eyes for each other, a street girl and a billionaire boy who had found something more precious than money: genuine human connection, built on mutual respect, kindness, and the courage to stand up for what's right. The bikers. They learned a valuable lesson that day. Derek eventually reached out to apologize properly, and Alex gave him a second chance, teaching him that redemption is always possible when you're willing to change. Because that's what true power is, not the ability to destroy or dominate, but the choice to uplift, to protect, to see the inherent dignity in every human being. And it all started with one boy who had everything, choosing to stop for one girl who had nothing but dreams, courage, and heart. In a world that often looks away, they proved that it only takes one person to change everything. A moment of courage, one act of kindness, one decision to see someone else's worth. That's not just changing the game, that's changing the world. Like and subscribe for more videos.